Hi, I'm Ernie,
And I'm Ben.
and this is Budget Nerds.
You are not alone.
No, you definitely aren't.
We saw a comment in the first episode of somebody saying, "Yay, I'm not alone. I'm also a budget nerd." And so that's what the show is all about. We are here to be nerds, be nerdy together, and talk about budgets because, it's kind of hard to talk about budgeting with people,
Right.
most people in our lives, because not everybody gets as nerdy with it as we do.
No.
And so that's what this is all about. It's a place for us to talk and get into the nitty gritty and get nerdy with it. So that's what we're here for.
Yeah, and last week was our first episode. We talked about the monthly rollover and kind of what each of us do at the end of the month and how we nerd out there. And then it was fun to read all the comments about what other
lots of
people
good
do
ideas
at the end of the month. And so that was cool. And this week we're going to be talking about something called the margin. It's something that you thought you created and invented, right?
Yes, I brought up this idea and I thought it was my idea, and then everybody else was like, "Oh, we do that too. Everybody at YNAB, apparently everybody does it." So what is the margin? Let's talk about this idea. So we talk about the budget template, which is where you add goals for all of your categories, and that will kind of create a typical month's budget. You kind of plan before you plan. You kind of plan how you're going to budget. And the idea is all of your goals added together should equal your expected income, assuming you know what your income's going to be. And that should be the same. But what I do, and what apparently Ernie does, and a lot of other folks do too, is make the total amount of your goals a little bit less than what you get in income in a month. And that way you have a little bit of wiggle room, what I call a margin. Some money that you can use for whatever. We're still giving those dollars a job, but it's not going to be the same job every single month. So that's kind of the idea.
Absolutely. And you're not sending this money into the future, correct? Like you're using it in the current month.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you're using the margin for?
Yeah, so the way it works for me, and I mentioned this in the last last video about the monthly rollover. I have about $300 that doesn't get allocated at the very beginning of the month. And I use it for all sorts of things. Sometimes it's to cover any overspending that happened from the previous month, but I try to avoid that for a couple of reasons. We can talk more about that. But what I do use it for mostly is for like my wish farm goals, things that I want to buy, things that I'm saving up for, that kind of stuff. Or if there's anything weird that month that we didn't plan for, that didn't show up in our true expenses, like maybe somebody has a birthday, or maybe we decide we want to travel extra that month, or something like that. We'll use it for that. So that's kind of the idea. It's just kind of a slush fund for whatever's going to be coming up that month.
And is there an ideal thing that you do, like when you get the chance to do it with your margin, like you're super happy, pumped?
Yeah, right now I'm working really hard on paying off my mortgage. I'm like going crazy on it. We're putting a lot to it every month regularly, and we have a goal for that. But anything extra I can throw at it is great. So if there's nothing else that we need to use the margin for, we'll throw it there.
Okay, so off topic, I'm curious, what's the timetable then for the mortgage getting paid off?
Oh, well, I have an arbitrary goal which I think is a great thing, make arbitrary goals in your life, to pay off my mortgage before I'm 35. I'm almost 32 now.
Oh, wow.
So I got to get it done in 3 years here. So that's the goal. And I think we're on track to do it. We'll see if things might change, and that's okay.
That's incredible.
Yeah, we're going for it. So it's exciting.
Well, we use the margin too, but we actually discovered it unintentionally.
Mm.
And so for the longest time, maybe a year, 2 years, whatever, we also used the budget template. And I made sure that our goals always matched to the penny what our income was.
Right. You're getting like into the decimals there.
Right. And because where our income was at and what we had for true expenses and all that, I needed to make sure that we were coming in exactly in line with our income.
Right.
And so we weren't on the financial edge. I was just really wanting to make sure that those true expenses were funded. each and every month. But then, we had some changes in employment where my wife went full time and there were some raises here and there. And we just found that, now we have a little bit more to work with. And we definitely, we bumped up, some of our categories like dining out, trips, the fun stuff, personal spending money. We jacked that up. But kind of for the rest of it, once we kind of figured out, okay, this is our new baseline, we still had this little bit left over. And what I primarily use it for is 401 Roth IRA contributions.
Nice.
So what I tried to do is we increase my wife's and my contribution 1% each quarter. And again, that's something that, Jesse, our founder CEO, recommends. And it's just a real easy way to up your retirement without really feeling it in the budget. And so I use the margin for that. And then, of course, if there is overspending in the month, use it. I pull from there. And then whatever's left over, I use that amount for the big ticket item that we happen to be saving for.
Nice.
And so hopefully by the end of the month, it's a substantial amount.
Yeah. Do you do you have a category? Because I have a category called margin, and whatever is extra after I fulfill my goals goes there. Or do you just leave it in to be budgeted until you're ready?
I leave it in to be budgeted. So actually right now we have an amount just sitting in to be budgeted because I budgeted out for the entire month of September. And now I'm just waiting to have that budget meeting with Christy and we get to figure out, okay, what do we do with this money?
There you go. Yeah, it's something psychological for me. I can't leave it in to be budgeted because it just... sometimes it takes us a little while to do the budget meeting. Usually we're pretty good. Usually do it the first or second of the month. But sometimes if things are busy, we might not have the budget meeting and decide what to do with the margin until like a week or two, sometimes even 2 weeks later. And if we do that, if it's for some reason, if it's sitting in to be budgeted, I'll start pilfering it for, whatever random little thing we want,
I'm with you.
But I don't know why. I put it in this little holding category and I don't touch it. So it's just a psychological thing.
The plan was to do something with that yesterday because it was September 1st, but it was my first full day of homeschooling with the 3 boys. And I was just wiped at the end of the day. I didn't even have enough energy to talk to Christy about our margin amount. So that says something, right? So yeah.
So you didn't have I guess the day before you had your spa day with your budget.
I did, and it was glorious. So yeah, I still have that amount sitting in to be budgeted. And when I opened up the app this morning, I'm like, oh geez, still there. Got to do something about that. So,
well, if it bothers you and you don't have time, stick it in a holding category. It's a psychological difference. I can't explain it, but it makes a difference.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have that conversation with Christy tonight. We'll get it taken care of. So
yeah, you'll get it taken care of. Cool. Yeah. So we still give every dollar a job, but the margin is it's going to be kind of a different job every month, or maybe it'll be the same, but it's just something that you deliberate on instead of kind of automatically budgeting it.
Because that's really this is the only thing that Christy and I have a discussion about each month, because everything else is already spoken for with the budget template. And then, this is where we get to have a lot of fun with figuring out what to do with those dollars.
Cool. Well, is there anything else we should cover about the margin idea? One thing is, I think I would imagine people might be saying, well, I have a variable income. How would that work for me? And I think you could still do a margin. It just might be a lot different every month. There might be some months where you have no margin. Sure. Might be some months where you have a lot of margin. So that might be a way to handle it. But it's really just above, and any of the money you have above and beyond your typical template could be considered margin money.
I think it'd be really interesting to have the YNAB community kind of just chime in the comments section. Let us know what you do with your margin.
Yeah. Do you have one, or are you like Ernie earlier on, where everything is all your goals are planned out to the penny? Do you want to maybe work on building a margin, something like that? Let us know what you're thinking. Yeah,
I'd love to hear from you. Also, any other topics you want us to cover? We got a few ideas from the last one, and we compiled those, and planning out a schedule. But love to hear any more ideas that anyone has.
Yeah, you guys can shape this show, so definitely let us know what you want us to talk about, and we'll talk about it.
Absolutely. Well, Ben, it's been a lot of fun. Always is.
Yes, indeed. Good talk. And to everybody out there, happy budgeting, and thanks for listening to us nerd out on stuff.
Absolutely. Happy budgeting, folks.
Bye.